Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Mind, Body, and Food podcast, where we explore the relationship between your mind, your body, and your food. I'm one of your hosts, Zach Scholl, and I have with me, as always, registered dietitian, sometimes singer-songwriter, bike rider.
Really? Comedian.
We have a running joke on the show. Every week, Jillian adds something to her resume.
Oh, I see.
Habit analysis.
Are you really a singer-songwriter? Do you?
No.
Oh, but
Wait a minute. Maybe I am.
there you go.
There we go.
It's like not even tuned in.
We forgot motivational speaker, registered dietitian, Jillian Foley. Jillian, how are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So guys, we have our very first guest on this podcast. Let's make some noise. His name is David Tamm. And David is a super smart genius, probably like smarter than Elon Musk, right?
No, not even close, man. I probably have a third of his IQ. Let's be real.
So David's like a mentor to me. He's a he's a super entrepreneur. And David actually reached out because he wanted to talk to Jillian and I about, supplements and habits, routines. We'll talk a little bit about maybe some of your military experience, like how that helped you develop routines and things like that. So we're super excited to have you on today.
Thanks, man. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'm so excited I get to be your first guest. Yay. This is going on my resume, by the way.
Do you need a resume?
No, not really. I'm my own boss.
Well, speaking of resume, why don't we offer like a quick background? Because, you're a serial entrepreneur, you grow and sell companies. You have a new company that's going to be like the new face of social media. So why don't we give a little background about you?
Sure. So I was born in Florida, but spent most of my upbringing in Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, which is like one of the most beautiful places in the world. So I feel very fortunate. I've attended 6 universities, got a few degrees, written a book, on the process of writing a couple more, and I've started 5 companies. Luckily, all of them have been, successful to varying degrees, but mostly in the real estate space, but also in technology. So like real estate technology and then digital marketing. And then the current one, Pensarita, my background, that's our logo. These are all of my friends, my fake friends here. And no, that's a stock image. It's a platform based off of legacy preservation and storytelling, because I think that's one of the things that we really need, because we're about to lose, our parents and greatest generation. And there's this old saying that when an old man dies or woman, a library burns to the ground. And I think that's a shame, and so I'm building a company to be able to preserve your legacy in a really elegant way and then share it after you're gone. So that's a little bit about me. I'm married. I have my 2-year anniversary this month. So I remember. And I've got, oh, thank you. And I've got a little corgi running around here somewhere. So if you hear some barking, that's me. Any questions?
Jillian, any questions?
No. You guys froze for like 2 minutes.
This is going to be fantastic.
You were something like this.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
So start over, David. Basically, you got to start all the way over.
I am not starting over. Absolutely.
You do not have to start over.
No, I'm gonna send you my LinkedIn, and then you can text me with questions.
That's fine.
Fine. Yeah. So I also, before I got into the entrepreneurial space, tech space, all of that, I did military for 9.5 years. I was enlisted and I became an officer and a combat aviator and did the whole deployment thing overseas. Got to play with some of the craziest, coolest technology. And that's really where I fell in love deeply with tech. Just seeing what it can do to save lives, and the opposite, Yeah.
So, one thing you mentioned specifically to me, which we haven't talked about here to talk about, is like supplements and nootropics and vitamins and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Jillian and I haven't really. What's that?
What?
How did you two meet if you live in Colorado?
The
That's a good
internet.
question.
The internet.
Yeah.
What is that?
I'm
unknown calling
companies in the real estate space. And so we do lots of training on best practices with cutting edge tech. And so I got introduced to Zach through one of my peer groups that he was with, and we just hit it off because we're kind of geeks, I think.
I can tell.
Now we're all a little weird here too. I think Jillian just doesn't know you yet, but we're all the same type of weird here. So
oh god,
get a little weird. So yeah, pressure's off.
If I can let my hair down. All right.
So Jillian, I'm curious to ask you first, what are your thoughts about taking vitamins and supplements?
Yeah. So I'm very, like, you already know this about me. I'm very food first. In my world, I have to be careful that if I recommend a supplement, that I know what kind of effects it might have. You take something and you expect it to have an effect, also expect it to have a side effect. And I don't want to be sued because I'm asking someone to take something. Do I wish there was more research out there, like legit actual funding that proved like what could help you and what doesn't? Absolutely. But I just feel like the market is always like flooded with, like, now everyone's taking collagen and it's like, well, is that even proven? So it's hard to find research on it. I personally, one of my favorite supplements that I take is cherry extract. Have you ever heard of it? Yeah. And I love it because there's actual research on it, which it can be hard to find. And my thing of it is like, so I had a patient not too long ago, and it turned out she had, and this is why I have to be careful. She had a slight allergy to cherries. So I'm like, you don't have to take, there probably has to be an antioxidant component within that color. I said, so I don't know, just eat more red peppers then. Like, so that's how I feel. I mean, of course, if I looked at someone's blood work and I saw they were deficient in something,
that is where I totally interrupt you. I apologize. By the way, the real reason that I actually wanted to get on this is so I could just get free advice from her about nutrition.
That's why I started this. So I get a free hour.
Yeah.
I pay her for an hour, and then I get an hour for free.
Topic, and I'll be like, is this for everyone or for you?
So that I'm going to piggyback on what you just said. That's where I kind of got exposed to the whole nutrition thing. Is I got COVID. And it did a number on me, and I was feeling like super foggy. And I didn't work out for probably a month. I just didn't have the energy. And so I started working with a personal trainer who was also a certified nutritionist and all these other, certifications that I don't know what they are, but I went and did the full male blood panel, and he was like, yeah, man, you're kind of jacked up. And so started to level all those stuff out, and then through a bunch of all natural, organic supplements, and then things are almost back to normal. And now I'm starting to kind of throttle back on those, but still have them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Is that something like similar to what you would recommend?
I don't know, only because it's not accepted yet. So like most people that see me for nutrition, their insurance covers. So you can go, so say someone's like, man, I'm feeling tired, more tired than usual. I feel like maybe my hair's thinning. I personally will go through what they're eating and look at, I can see the big picture, and I can be like, no, you're not lacking protein. You might think you are, but here's what I think you do need. And then there's certain things that you can check. Like we can check, through blood work, you can check B12, iron, calcium, but I still wish there was testing that could be done through blood work that was accepted through insurances, because it's still considered like experimental. Like you can take a look at someone's blood calcium levels and be like, oh, okay, your calcium's fine. But do we know if it's because it's leaching it from your bones? Like we don't, I just feel like there's still so much that they don't understand. So like, that's wonderful. And I'm not knocking the fact that you went and saw that trainer that had you do that. I just feel like normally within my realm of working with health insurances, they don't cover that. I can't even tell someone to go and get that done. No,
everything was out of pocket, which I expected. And thank you. I didn't even know insurance did cover that. So I'm going to look into that next.
Yeah. So your insurances will look at B12, iron, vitamin D, but they're never, I mean, there's a slew of B vitamins that they could be checking for. Like, how about we check our vitamin C? How about we check our vitamin E? We don't ever take a look at that.
It's interesting. You just gave me an idea for a business. So I co-founded a joint venture insurance company. So I own an insurance company. And then I also work with, I mentor a couple high level medical testers. Like maybe we should have a conversation and like, well, what doesn't exist, we could probably build,
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. Thank you for that. I really appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. I hope you are even more rich from that. No, just kidding.
Give me a break.
Oh,
David's
We'll go in together. I'm not going to just like rip you off.
David's super humble. It's just he's accomplished
I'm
a
just
lot.
kidding. I don't even know your worth. I'm just messing with you.
No, it's just this. These are my fake friends on the beach. That's all you have to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So Zach, that gets us pointed in a really interesting direction because for me, I'm always looking to like optimize this, right? What's between my ears? You know, I'm an avid consumer of books, ebooks. I've been a lifelong student since I was 17. You know, got kicked out of my first college, and of course all the military tech stuff. So for me, I'm like, how can I get a little bit more horsepower out of my noodle? You know what I mean? And so that's where like I stumbled onto nootropics, but it's also very diet driven. You know, like the first one I found out about was just reading up on lion's mane mushrooms. Of like, okay, this is a natural mushroom and it looks like a brain, and there's a lot of scientific study around of it, you know, its impact on cerebral function, right? And so I started taking, I found the highest recommended one. I talked to my doctor, I talked to the nutritionist. I'm like, this isn't like going to give me Ebola or anything, right? And they're like, no, you're gonna be fine. And
Wait, are you talking psychedelics?
what's that?
Legal mushrooms, right?
No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Don't worry.
Because like I've been looking for someone.
No, well, if you do, I do have a couple connections that are like high level shamans that we can talk about another time. No, I mean,
for the lion's mane though, I think I've heard of that too, but that's legal. It's not magic mushrooms, is it?
No. It's literally like, this is one of the, I can't hold it up because there we go. Can you see it?
Yeah, lion's mane. Yeah.
Yeah. And like the mushroom itself, it looks like a little brain, and maybe that's the universe's way of saying like, this will help you. I don't know. But I've noticed a big difference. You know, I started with a half dose. I noticed if I take it right before bed, I have really weird dreams. So I don't do that anymore. You know what I mean? But I'll take it like after I eat, you know, afternoon meal or something like that with some of the other supplements I take. And it works. And I cycle on and cycle off. And I've got a really good baseline, right? Because like I've standardized how I operate from a workflow perspective, so I can see variances up and down pretty well, as long as I don't mess with any of the other tiles, you know what I mean? But that would be one that I would recommend to your group. To obviously, I'm not a nutritionist, anything, but check it out and take a look, you know, if you're struggling, especially like my mom, she's in her 70s and she's got POCD and she's starting to struggle with, you know, recall and that kind of stuff. And so we're starting to take a look at, you know, what can we do to make sure that you're cognitively functional, you know, for the remainder of your life. So that's just a thought.
And this is legal, that like they have it in GNC or?
I get this. They've got Vitamin Cottage. They have it in Whole Foods. You can definitely get it on Amazon. Yeah, it's just an over the counter. Literally, you can buy lion's mane mushroom at our farmers market here in Castle Rock, which is cool. You saute it with a little bit of soy chili paste. It's like kind of spicy. It's delicious, man.
And then how is it like a natural? What do they take for ADD? Ritalin? Like what is it? What does it do?
Is it
like that mushroom?
Yeah.
Well, isn't Ritalin like a methamphetamine derivative? Like that's what I heard. I've never done the research, but
that's what I mean. Is that like, what is it? How does it make you feel? What does it do? Like obviously,
like some.
Yeah. Can you send me some?
Yeah, I'll send you some. Absolutely, I'll buy you a container of lion's mane. Sure, it's not that expensive. But I don't know, something like for me, the ability for recall. Right. So like I just try and memorize things anyway. So like I'm going to try and memorize a couple things about Jillian, you know, her hobbies, background. And so I can reference that in my mind. You know what I mean? It's really, really helpful. And there's context to why you do that from my past, you know, military stuff. It's very important. And so, especially when you're working with other countries. And so for me, it's like, I wanted to be able to like remember all kinds of stuff all the time without having to look it up, you know? And so I've noticed a little difference in my recall, as well as access to the verbal side of my brain, right? Because I'm a super analytical guy. Like if I never had to talk to anyone again for the rest of my life and just have a computer, I'd be okay with that, except for my wife, right? Like it would be totally fine. But for this, I feel like it allows me to access words that I'm trying to articulate to convey what I'm trying to get across. Did that make sense? A little bit better. Or maybe it's all just in my head.
But either way, it's true.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The whole placebo effect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's There's another one that I've dabbled in. It's called, and you can get this one at Whole Foods or I believe on Amazon as well. It's called Brain, and I kind of cycle on, cycle off. You know what I mean? To give my body a break, because I don't know that there's a ton of medical research on the Brain ones, but this one is kind of a cocktail of a bunch of different. It's got like coconut oil, mulberry leaf. Do you know what any of this stuff is, Jillian? Yeah, but this is what it looks like. It's got the little Brain. There's like this white little fungus thing here, or red fungus thing here. And so I take both of those kind of on and off perpetually.
Cool.
Can help. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna stop hijacking the conversation about my brain.
No, you're not. We have you on.
Oh, thanks.
You're
Does
our
that answer
guest.
the question, Zach?
Yeah, you're our guest, and Jillian and I both love to learn. That's kind of, I think, how Jillian and I bonded, because she's always telling me about something new, or I tell her something new, or like we're YouTube junkies, right? We like to go on YouTube and learn new stuff.
Yeah.
Me too. Well, okay, so do you know what True Brain is? TRU Brain? They've done a ton of research on this, tons of clinical research. I'm going to get up for 15 seconds and go grab a pack so I can show you the label. It's really cool because they have customizable boxes that, okay, so True Brain. So you can get a box like this. And I promise you, I didn't like buy all these in preparation of this so I can talk about it. Actually take these, but you can customize the type. So like these are the caffeinated ones. So you can do those without coffee. These are like nighttime CBD, kind of sleep better. I do not like these. That's just my personal preference. Very particular about my sleep. And then these are also an actual like mushroom kind of True Brain thing. But these are perfect for conferences. Like if you're going to be on the road, throw in a few True Brains in your laptop bag, if you're dragging, oh, they're perfect. And you don't get the jitters like.
Yeah. I would love to know, because it seems like everything that you're interested in is a form of a different mushroom. I would love to know what the component is, the element that brings them all together. Because I eat mushrooms more than a normal person should. But I'm also getting like supermarket, white mushrooms or portobello. Maybe that's why I'm so smart.
Maybe. So like if you go to True Brain's website, you can learn about like their actual research.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of it published in here. I've actually reached out to them because I'm a marketing guy and I'm like, hey, as a chief marketing officer, I've got some ideas and I would love to push your product, you know what I mean? Because it works.
Well, because it's neat. Like I love when I think it's neat when I finally get to be the consumer and go, hey, like, this is what I would need to see out. Normally you are the marketing guy, but now you're the consumer and you're like, these are great, but I don't know what they do for me. And if I could see that on your package, it would be cool.
Yeah, that's a really good suggestion. I'll send the, I'll just drop the link in the chat here and then you can post it or whatever to your channel. And then if you get a sponsorship, just give me a free box every now and then. Okay?
That'd be nice.
Cool.
Well, Jillian, as a dietitian, I'm curious, can you not, like, with these supplements, you can't get all that from food? Like, do you all know how supplements give you that extra boost or how it works?
Sure. Your body breaks it down and utilizes it. I have to imagine that when you're taking a capsule, you're getting it concentrated. That's the other reason I have to be careful with pushing a supplement, because like even with the cherries, that woman that I had been speaking to, she had no idea she even had a cherry allergy. Her daughter did. She's been eating cherries her whole life. She starts taking these cherry capsules. She starts getting hives all over her legs. So I personally have to be very careful. So like and that's why I'm wondering, can you get a wider variety of mushrooms in your diet? Can you throw it in your pasta? Can you throw it in your stir fry? Can you throw it in your chili? Mm-hmm. And is it something that's in the typical everyday mushroom, or are we talking like fancy mushrooms that you can only get from like Whole Foods? I don't know. I don't know the answer. But anyway, I guess to answer your question, it's your body breaks down what you take in and decides what it needs to do with it. So when you're taking a mushroom supplement, your body's taking it and sending it to wherever it needs to go.
That makes sense. And I don't know the answer to that. Have you seen the Netflix documentary on mushrooms? It's like an entire like 90-minute how you doing on like what is it, the mycelium, the things that grow down from mushrooms into the soil that communicate with each other. It's bananas. Like I was like mind blown when I watched this.
Yeah.
Let me I'll get you a link to it and then send it across to you. It's called Fantastic Fungi.
See, I would love a documentary like that. The documentaries where they're like, you can never eat meat again, or like they drive me insane. But I would love to watch a documentary on mushrooms. I'd love
All right.
it.
All right. So I'm gonna drop the link to that as well into the chat.
What's it called again for anyone that's listening on Spotify?
Fantastic Fungi, I believe. And it's
Our feminists are gonna hate that.
You what?
I'm just kidding.
Our what?
I said our feminists.
Our feminists?
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I shouldn't joke like that.
Why would they hate that?
Never mind. It was a bad joke.
Oh, okay.
Fun guy.
Oh, fun guy.
Fun guy.
That was a good joke once I got it. I like it.
Yeah.
You just slipped it in there.
It really isn't a good joke.
But it's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, so you should check it out. I dropped the link in the chat.
I definitely will. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. What?
Yeah, we love documentaries around here.
Me too.
Yeah.
I would much rather watch documentaries all day long and like be entertained and learn something, as long as they're well done, than just like a random, Netflix show or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. So how many, you take a lot of other supplements? I mean, you all jacked up. What else are you taking?
I all jacked up. Well, I did. After the COVID thing, yeah, my levels were like everything from testosterone to, I mean, I'm sure you know all the nomenclature. I don't, but like when I got the big sheet, he was like, that's jacked up, you know what I mean? It showed me what correct levels should be for, my body type, age, et cetera. And then we did look at what I do consume, which wasn't all good. I cleaned that up a ton with, salmon, free range grass-fed beef, chicken, that kind of stuff. Even the quality of the eggs that I buy, because I do like to enjoy eggs in the morning. I've tried to hone that in. And because of that, my blood work is a lot better. And so I don't need to take as much, but I still have them if I need them.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. So kind of like preventative in nature. But for me, it was just like an education process, because I was like, my gosh, like, what if I didn't do this? What if I didn't address this problem? And then, 5 years down the road, I've got all these serious health issues. Like I feel like a miracle occurred that I met this dude at the gym who I hit it off with, who then was like, you don't look so great. So, and I'm sure you experience that a ton, Jillian, with your clients. It's just like, life-saving potentially.
Yeah. Well, because everyone we're all walking around tired, and it's like, yes, you're going to be tired because life is overwhelming and we put too much on our plates, but like that part aside, what else is going on?
Yeah, Jillian does a great job, because I've been to dietitians, but she does like the psychology and like the deep dive behind like your habits and what you're doing and what you're eating and why you eat it.
Oh, gotcha. So I can definitely not, work with Jillian, because I'm not ready to lay on the couch and go through all the, I've done, gosh, 2 decades of therapy and counting. So we're
right,
typical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Zac, what else do you want to cover? And how are we doing on time? Because I know we usually do these 30-40 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah, we have about 3-4 minutes. I mean, however long you guys want to go. My Zoom account is running out in about 4 minutes, so we can always hop back on. But Jillian, do you have any questions?
No, I think it was a great topic. I like that we, again, we talk about psychological things and habit and routine and motivation, but I like that we veered off and talked about supplements. I think it's a neat topic. I think there's so much that could be discussed in that realm.
I like that you take a hard stance on like, no, I need to know more before I just say take something, which is really good, because I don't hear a lot of people say that. What we could do, Zac, is I also have a pretty robust regimen when it comes to like my discipline, workflow, tempo, work, all that kind of stuff that I'd love to just share, because I had to figure a lot of it out myself through like years and years of like the struggle bus, you know what I mean? All the way down to like a few critical books that completely changed my life when it comes to like personal responsibility, health, fitness, mental health, that kind of stuff. So we could do that on another session if you want and continue down
Make
this.
your top 3.
Oh gosh. Driven is a book that it addresses people kind of like me, you know, that are a little bit type A overachievers, but also susceptible to a lot of bad habits just because of the way they're wired. And I tried meditating for years and it never really worked. I was like, oh, it's just not for me. And then this book gave me the recipe of how I should be meditating for kind of how I am. And it was just like overnight difference.
I would love to know what book it is, but I froze.
Oh, it's called Driven. What I'll do is
I'll find it.
Okay. Yeah, it's really, really neat. Because apparently there's it's Dr. Douglas Brockman, PhD,
Yep,
and Randy Kelly. Yeah, and they talk about a genetic mutation in one of your alleles that causes certain behavior and patterns that in a portion of the population, and a lot of people have, they just don't know about it. You know, you can get tested for it and everything. So that would be one. The comfort crisis is another one. It's about, we're getting soft. You know, we live in 72 degrees every single day. We don't do hard stuff, and it's turning us to mush. And so I've been privileged enough to deal with some incredibly difficult stuff in my life, and I think it's made me better. And this book kind of researches and codifies that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then the other one's a conspiracy theory book that we're not even going to talk about on this, but we'll talk about it another time.
We'll talk about that on a secure line.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. On the red.
Right?
Well, yeah, we have about a minute or so left. So David, do you have any like last tips or advice, I guess, for people trying to get it together?
Ask questions. If you're struggling with someone, I almost guarantee there's somebody right now going through the same thing, or somebody right now that's already figured it out, right? So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And that's kind of like why I'm doing the whole legacy preservation thing. It's like, it's so stupid that we have to like reinvent the wheel every 80 to 100 years. You know, can we start like learning from our past and then codify it in some way that it's easily digestible and communicable? So that's it. Ask for help if you need it. I need a lot of help.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
I think that's a great ending there. Jillian, you have anything to add or anything to say to
No,
David?
I think that was great. I completely agree.
Cool. Thanks for having me on. This is a privilege and an honor. And I learned a lot. Thank you, Jillian and Zach.
Well, David, appreciate you having you on. Jillian, I appreciate you letting me have David on because it is both our shows. Hopefully we'll have David. Yeah, hopefully we'll have David on again. And we're running out of time. So guys, thanks for watching and listening. I'll have links in the show for these books and where you can reach Jillian and I on Facebook, Instagram, all that. So I guess we'll say bye now before we run out of time.
Sounds good. Drop comments and questions if you have about any of the content. We'll try and get back to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thanks.
Bye.